Hello and welcome to another segment of Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Jamie Johnson, the government and legal correspondent. And today my guest is the Chief of Police for Hudson, and I should add, soon to be former Hudson City Police Chief, Marty Jensen. Marty, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, Chief, I want to start the show by thanking you for your service. And I thought we would, just tell the folks a little bit about what it's been like during your tenure here at Hudson, and hit some of the highs and lows, maybe what your retirement plans might be.
Okay.
So, first of all, you have been chief 10 years. It will be coming up in a couple weeks.
Yep, it'll be 10 years. I was given the job on March 15th of 2008, and my last day, official work day, will be March 16th of 2018, so I'll have just one day over 10 years. So, and it's been enjoyable. I can't say that it's all been enjoyable, but it's been kind of fun. Tomorrow, March 1st, I'll go over 31 years total service with the department.
Well, let's talk about that. So, you've been 31 years just in Hudson, or is that all police?
31 years in Hudson. I started part-time with Hudson in 1985, and then I got hired full-time March 1st of 1987, started off as a patrol officer. Back then there was only 8 patrol officers, two sergeants and the chief. There was only 11 of us. When I first started, the population was just around 6,000 people, so it was interesting. We usually only had one officer out working the streets compared to what we have now, where we're averaging about 3 or 4 officers out, at any given time. I worked my way up. I became a sergeant in 1997, or 1996, I'm sorry, after I'd been on for 9 years, and then I got promoted to the chief's position in 2008, and obviously that's where I'm going to be retiring from.
So you were sergeant for almost 10 years then?
Correct, yep.
Okay. And you had mentioned when you started 11 officers, which meant 1 chief and 2 sergeants.
1 chief, 2 sergeants, and 8 patrol officers.
So then, and you took over from who as chief?
Dick Trendy.
Okay.
Well, technically Dick retired in 2006. There were 2 other chiefs that got hired prior to me. One lasted 13 days and the other one was 6 months, and then they left. And then I got the position in 2008.
Okay. So yeah, you were the 3rd chief in a span of about 7 months there.
Yep,
then?
that's correct.
And then, but brought 10 years longevity, and Chief Trendy was here over a decade as well.
Yep, he was here over 13 years.
What was the chief that hired you?
Dave Berkey was the chief that hired me, and Dave, I think, was an original, came up through the ranks as well. I think he was chief for close to 20 years before he retired in 1990, I believe, is when he pulled the plug. So,
but the 23 years roughly that between you and Chief Trendy, a lot of change in the town.
Oh yeah, it's just unbelievable how the city has taken off. When we first started, there were 6,000 people in town, and bar closing was at 1 o'clock in Hudson, but it was 2 o'clock out of the county, so we had people rushing in and rushing out all the time. The Carmichael Road, the bridge over there, all you had was one on-ramp and one off-ramp. There was nothing out there except the Hudson Ford dealer when I first started.
Right.
And now we have where the dog track got built and all the buildup that's come in. And
you got the industrial parks now, and you've got the residential development south of the interstate.
Yep.
Big changes.
Right, and the population within Hudson, we're almost 14,000 people, but if you take a look at, if you add North Hudson, the town of Hudson, the town of Troy, St. Joseph, we've got almost 35,000 people within maybe 5-7 miles of the city limits.
I think our school district is, around 33,000.
Right.
But you became chief 10 years ago, and how many officers?
10 years ago when I started, we had 21 officers.
And now how many?
And then this year when I leave, we'll have 27. Was able to put on 6 more positions. We added more road positions. We added another school resource officer. We added another detective position. We got a drug investigator. This year we're putting another road officer on, and then we're adding another patrol sergeant. So we're going to have 4 supervisors working patrol, just so that they can make sure that our guys are out there doing their jobs, and then making sure that they have the resources they need if something should come up. So.
Okay. So are those supervisor sergeant level?
Yeah, those will be sergeant level positions. And then we have 4 patrol sergeants, and then we still have a detective sergeant that will supervise the detective bureau.
Okay. So we talked about the changes in the city, both population-wise and then geographically, just the boundaries being bigger area to patrol. What are some of the technology changes that you've seen since you've been on the force and/or since you've become chief?
Well, when I became chief, one of the first things we did is we put mobile data computers in the squad cars.
remember that, yeah.
That was one of the priorities that Dean Knutson came in with, and that was one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure we had that technology. We also put moving radar units in all our squad cars so that we could make sure that we were taking care of traffic situations the best way we could. And then about 3 years ago, I was able to convince the council that we needed to get body cameras and in-squad camera systems in our vehicles. It's been a little bit of a struggle with that. Technology that we had was causing us some issues, but I think it's come a long way. It's helped us a lot in our court cases. It's reduced the amount of time that officers have to spend in court, especially if you've got the video of a crime that's been committed. If you want to talk about an OWI, if you've got it all on tape, it's kind of hard to refute that type of.
Well, do you have Dashcam then and all?
Yeah,
the
we have
squads?
Dashcam and we have our body cameras, and they're connected together. So if you activate one, the other one turns itself on. So there's, if an officer's outside the car and he has to turn his body camera on, the squad camera will come on at the same time, so you can get a different angle of something.
Has it made a difference in convictions, like for OWIs, when people can see their performance on field sobriety tests?
It's actually worked out very well for us, because obviously with the body cameras and with the squad cameras, if you can show the jury or you can show the judge what you saw, it's night and day difference. Our guys are used to go to court quite often on the OWI cases, and they're not going 3 times anymore what they used to.
Okay.
So it's really
Big
saved us.
reduction,
Yeah,
yeah.
big reduction in that.
And then that saves the taxpayers, because then less overtime you're paying for those officers to get into court.
That is correct.
Well, that's good. Okay, maybe a little tougher question. What would you consider maybe your biggest challenge in the time that you've been chief?
I think some of the challenges that I've had as a chief is doing the political thing. I'm not very good with politics, and having to deal with, you have a different mayor that comes in, or you different council members. Different people have different agendas they want to do. Trying to walk that fine line of making sure that my department is running fine, but also making sure that I'm meeting the needs of my council and my mayor as well. And I think
That's right. You were chief through 3 mayor changes, right?
Yep, I started with Jack Breaux was the mayor when I got hired, and then Dean Knutson, and then Al Burchell was the mayor, and then now Rich O'Connell.
Oh, okay.
So I went through 4 of them, but that, and I think the one thing I don't think I was quite prepared for, and my predecessor, my lieutenant who's going to be taking over for me, I try to ingrain in him, is dealing with your employees. Sometimes you forget about your employees and some of the things that they get involved in, and that can be very difficult, especially when you've worked through the ranks like I have, and you've dealt with these people and they've been your friends, and all of a sudden you're your boss and you've got to discipline them or take some other action, or you have to let them go. That can be very tough, and it can take its toll on you.
And so you talked about challenge. What about maybe something that worked out pretty good? What are you most proud about as far as something that happened while you were chief?
The one program that I'm very proud of that we started, I started in my 2nd year here, was the Citizens Police Academy. We've been running that now, coming up, this will be its 9th year coming up that we've done it. I think giving citizens in our area the opportunity to see what a police officer goes through, the type of training. We let them drive a squad car. We let them shoot a taser. If they want to take a ride on the taser, we call it riding the lightning, they can do that as well. We do OWI enforcement. We do a shoot, don't shoot scenario with laser guns and so forth. We give them an opportunity to see what it's like from a police officer's perspective, and then we give them a chance to do a ride along. Just to watch the people's reactions as they go through the process, and then have them come back and said, that was the best thing I've ever done. In fact, we've had 3 people that have gone through it at least twice, and I know of at least 1 that's gone through it 4 times.
Wow.
They've enjoyed it that much. They just enjoy going and doing it. So,
How does somebody apply for that?
well, what happens is it happens in the fall of the year. We'll do it. We'll put it on our Facebook page. We'll put it in the paper, and then on the website for the city. You can pick up an application. It's a 9-week program. Starts right after Labor Day. It's on Tuesday nights, so it runs from 6 to 9 o'clock.
So September and October, basically.
Yeah, September to October, graduate on usually first part of November. So it's a great program. We have our canines involved in it. All our officers that are in the program enjoy it. They love teaching to the citizens and showing what they do, and they have a good time.
You mentioned you'll have a successor. He's been chosen, and
Yes.
it is who?
It's my second in command, Lieutenant Jeff Willems, who will be taking over in my spot. I'm really proud of Jeff. He's done a really good job. He's like myself. He's come up through the ranks.
How long has he been in Hudson?
He first started off in North Hudson, so he worked there for 5 years, and then he's been with us just over 11 years now.
Okay.
So he's been in the Hudson area for 16 years. So he's got a family here. He's got roots. He's got kids. So he's going to be here for the long haul. I don't think he'll be going anywhere.
Well, speaking of family, you've had some family changes. Then in the you starting full time in 1987.
Yep.
Tell me about your family.
Well, I have 3 kids. I have my oldest son, Ted, is 30 years old from my first marriage. He still lives in town. And then I have my wife, Ann, and I have 2 kids, Miles and Rebecca. Miles is now up in college, Bemidji State, and Rebecca's going to school at CVTC. She's doing a nursing program now.
I remember Miles playing football. Is he still playing ball?
No, he decided not to do the football thing anymore. He said he enjoyed playing football. He said he just didn't like practicing.
Okay.
So
So your kids are grown.
their kids are grown, and our retirement plan is we bought a lake home up by Cumberland, and we sold our house here in Hudson. So my wife is living up there right now. I stay down here during the week, and then I go back up there on the weekends. And March 17th, it'll be permanent. I'll be up there full time, and just looking forward to enjoying some days out on the water and fishing.
How about activities? What do you plan on doing when you're retired?
I do a lot of fishing. I love to bass fish. I did a program for some of the nonprofits. I was fishing with the chief. You go out, I take them out bass fishing on the St. Croix River. I still have a few of those certificates out, so I'll be doing that. Want to do some traveling. The wife and I, because she was a St. Paul firefighter, so she worked odd schedules. I worked odd schedules. We didn't get to do a lot of traveling, and then the kids came along. And now that we're both retired and the kids are old enough to take care of themselves, we want to, see the United States, go some different places, do some different things. So that's what we're kind of looking forward to.
Well, Chief Trendy, he kind of got back into security or law enforcement, if you will, with the University of Wisconsin. Do you see a second career down the road at all?
Not right now. No, I'm not even looking. My wife keeps asking me what I'm going to do when I retire, and I said I'm probably going to take the summer off, and then I'll take a look at maybe doing something in the fall. But right now, I don't have any
Wait until you're
plans.
bored.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Okay, probably good advice. Well, I think some of those gray hairs have been well earned. How about the ones that got earned maybe by some challenges? Anything that tough situations that you've had that maybe now you look back might have been handled differently, or maybe tough situations that you're pretty proud of how you came out the other side?
Well, I think if some of the just prior to my becoming the chief, we had the homicides. Obviously we had the Kelly Dom at the Government Center, and obviously the O'Connells. Some of those things, will wear on you for a while because, it happened on your watch. Even though there's probably nothing you could have done about it, it still wears on you. And dealing with the media and then dealing with family and family members of the decedent is very tough. But, I don't have any regrets about anything that I've done. I think I've done a good job. At least I hope I've done a good job. I feel like that's what's happened. So. Well,
I haven't heard anything otherwise. And actually, how about the relationship between the department and the schools? Because actually, it's big in the news right now, obviously. Yeah. So.
And we've actually had a very good relationship starting from the late 1990s. We've had a school resource officer up at the high school. I worked closely with the superintendents, both of them that I've had to deal with. And Nick has been fantastic to work with, as is the school board. They've been great. We now have 2 school resource officers, one at the middle school and one at the high school, and both of them are doing a great job. All I hear is good comments from the teachers. The kids love them.
I've heard that things at the middle school, it helped having an officer there.
Right, exactly. It's helped. It's worked out very, very well. James Wildman is our school resource officer for the middle school, and I think he was made for that job because he deals with the kids so well and he deals with the parents just fantastic. So it'd be nice if he could spend more time in the elementary schools as well, but obviously you're getting pulled.
Well, when you have, it's the largest 3-grade middle school in the state, so.
Yeah. It does make it difficult, so.
Right. So as far as looking forward, maybe either advice you'd give or what would you like to see Hudson consider for its police force going into the future?
Well, when I got the chief's job, one of the things that Dean and I were able to do was to get the police department moved into new facilities. Obviously, when I first started, we only had 4,400 square feet of space total for a 21-man department.
And that was at City Hall?
Down at City Hall in the basement, correct. But now being in the library building, I've got 19,000 square feet, 9 on one and 10 on another. But it's not really designed for a police department. We've made do with the space we have, and it's great. What I'd like to see happen is I'd love to see the community come together and build us a police department that will be more functional for us, that we can expand and move on to. I know there's been talk about possibly
a public safety building.
Yeah, a public safety building either with us and the fire department in together. Or I know that the sheriff's office is looking to expand as well. There's been talk about putting our department together with theirs up on Carmichael and Vine. I think that would be a great idea because then we'd be closer to the government center as well.
Okay. And does that make sense? I mean, with the two departments being close?
Yeah, I think it is because the simple fact is our departments, our investigators and our patrol guys work with the sheriff's department all the time, especially with them being in town. We'd be closer to the government center for, if we need to go and talk to somebody or have to go up in a court. I think, pooling our resources will save, obviously, money for the citizens here, but I think the taxpayers for the county as well.
And obviously, there's a lot of calls where it's both police and fire.
Correct.
And so generally, with the talk about up at Ward Avenue, does that seem to make sense with the geographic center of the city pulling in that direction given the development to the southeast?
I think it's a good spot for the fire department on Ward Avenue. I think they're going to be able to do what they need to do. The situation with that for the police department is that if we need to respond to downtown, we've got to wing our way through to get there. Or if we've got to go out into the interstate, it's much easier to get there. But if you got to go towards the schools, you got to work your way around. That's why I'm thinking that the location at Vine and Carmichael works out so well, because if we have to head towards the interstate or the top of the hill, we just go down Carmichael Road. If we got to go downtown, you just run down Vine Street. We can get to both areas relatively quick.
Even though it's kind of the northeast
Yes.
section.
Yeah, we have access to all that area down there, so it works out very well.
Plus, you don't have to go very far after you book somebody into the jail, right?
Exactly.
But, do you want to weigh in at all on the EMS issue?
No, I'm not gonna touch that one.
Darn, I thought I could get you to say something there. But, still, Hudson has been your home for a long time, and you're going to still, assume, keep up some relationships here.
Oh, yeah. I still have a lot of friends that hang in town. I'm church friends and friends from the department and outside. And when I first started in 1987, my goal was to get a few years' experience. And I'm originally from Minnesota. I was going to move back, but I fell in love with the community. I fell in love with the department.
And now you're further deeper into Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, exactly.
Yeah.
I can't get away from God's
But
country.
you can't be too far from a fishing spot, right?
No, you got to be close to a lake. So
there you go. Well, anything else that we didn't touch on that I missed?
no, I don't think so. I think we did a pretty good job. So
Yeah, and like I said, I like the idea. No regrets. Challenges certainly, but something that you don't mind having had a career in what's considered a small city, I guess.
right. It's been fun. It's been enjoyable. I had even when I didn't get the chief's job the first 2 times, I had no ambition to go anywhere else. I said if I could get the chief's job here, that's what was going to be good. If not, then I was going to retire as sergeant.
Okay.
I enjoyed living in Hudson. I enjoyed working here, and I'm going to miss it a little bit. But you can't get away from being on a lake and out in the country and just enjoying yourself. So.
Very good. Well, Chief, thank you. Job well done.
Thank you very much.
And
I appreciate it.
Come back, say hi once in a while.
I will.
All right, very good. And thank you for watching another segment of Western Wisconsin Journal.